Cycle Show, brought to you by ChainReactionCycles.com. Hello again and welcome to the Cycle Show. It's difficult to keep track of all the British cycling success at the moment. A brilliant Olympic Games on two wheels. We'll be chatting about that and lots more. Here's what's coming up in this week's programme. Anna Glowinski takes on the world's smallest velodrome. We have what is surely the world's most high-tech bicycle, and we chat to some guys who prove that age is no barrier to great cycling adventurers. So I'll have to come here on the Cycle Show, but first let's introduce this week's celebrity cycling guest. It's the comedian, actor and writer Alan Davies. Alan, great to see you.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
You're a regular here in this cycling-themed cafe. Is that because you like the coffee, or have you a genuine interest in bikes?
I play six-a-side football on a Monday morning just round the corner, and I pedal down and come in here afterwards to recover. So yeah, I come here all the time. It's great.
You've obviously enjoyed the amount of cycling coverage we've had on here in the last few weeks as well.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. I mean, the Tour, I didn't used to understand the Tour de France, and then I read Lance Armstrong's book, It's Not About the Bike, which is about his recovery from cancer. But in the book, he talks about the Tour and how the Tour works, and so that was my introduction to racing. So then I started following the Tour after that, and then to go the week later straight into the Olympics, with all these names established and in the public eye, it's been absolutely extraordinary.
Well, Alan, the casual cyclist like you is about as far removed from our next guest as it's possible to be. It's the pro BMX rider, Keelan Phillips. Good to see you, Keelan.
How you doing? You all right?
Welcome. Good to see you.
How you doing? All right? Yeah, good.
Keelan, thanks for joining us. It's been a very busy year for you. One of the stars of the phenomenally successful Concrete Circus TV programme, and also appearing in an advert with some of the most famous footballers on the planet. Just tell us what you've been up to and what that experience has been like.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's been non-stop. I've been more or less all around the world doing shows, all different kinds of events, so like exhibitions. Yeah, it's been pretty nuts.
I'm playing volleyball with the likes of Torres and Lampard and people like that.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even know who half and where when I went there. But yeah, riding my bike, get to ride it in all different places, which I never thought I would do, so it's been pretty cool.
Well, we get more from Keelan and from Alan in just a minute, but there's been so much phenomenal cycling success again this week in this country, from Olympic triumphs on the road and on the track to downhill mountain bike triumphs for the Athertons out in France in Val d'Isère. So we just managed to canvass some opinion of the very knowledgeable cycling crowd here in this cafe and beyond, and the general opinion is that this is a real golden period for the sport in this country.
It's just been absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. I used to cycle years ago, but I've really got back into it now, and I'd like to get back on my bike.
I think it's kind of an investment over, say, maybe 10 years or so. You're not going to do it in 2 years. It's going to be investment money, talent, and you've got a great population here to do. And I think cycling globally is one of those things that's on the up.
I'd love to do it. I was saying to her that we should just get rid of all the cars in London and everyone should be made to go on a bike or the tube.
My kids and the club I'm involved with, Birkenhead North NCC, we have a Go Ride section for the kids, and it's just great to see the sport at that level blooming, and that's what's creating the champions who are coming through at the Olympic level now.
I have to say it has to be Victoria Pendleton and the world record. Absolutely, could not stop watching that. I was glued to the television, and I could watch it over and over and over again.
Well, Alan, we haven't really overblown that, have we? It's just been an incredible few weeks for cycling here.
It really has. Cycling has been the #1 sport for about a fortnight now, starting with Bradley Wiggins, who now everybody knows his name and everyone's growing sideburns. Even Paul Weller gave an interview about him, and he never gives interviews about anything. Right? And Chris Froome as well, and Cavendish, and then into the track, and suddenly it's not just Chris Hoy, there's a whole load of new names coming up. It's been so exciting. I don't know how they do it, really. I mean, it's a fraction of a second the whole time, isn't it? On those pursuit races, it's fractions. I don't know if they're sleeping in the tent and living in a wind tunnel or what they're doing all year round.
Yeah.
But you can just see the dedication coming through on the track.
Keelan, do you look at it slightly jealously, perhaps, because obviously your particular discipline in the BMX isn't in the Olympics yet? Do you think it might be something that would come in years?
It's not in the Olympics, but for an amazing start, BMX racing is in the Olympics. So that's a big foot in the door for what we do. But it generally brings a whole public view into BMX as a whole now, because it was never in the Olympics and now it is. So, someone who's never sort of seen it before is now going to be watching it on their TV this summer. Yeah, I'd love to see it in the Olympics one day. Yeah.
The kind of level that Keelan's at, Alan, and the kind of level that the Olympians are at, does that inspire you to don some Lycra?
Some Lycra, yeah. No, I'd look good in Lycra. Anything close fitting. No, they did say to me when I was going to come on this programme, would you be interested in Keelan showing you a few basic BMX moves? I'm 46 years old.
I want to see that. I think we should go outside and do it.
So I just put my leg over the cell and go, oh no, that's enough. No, I've seen some footage of what Keelan does. It's unbelievable. It's all on YouTube. I sat there looking at him because I knew I was going to meet him.
What are you up to at the moment?
Well, this week I'm going to Edinburgh Festival. This week I'm doing stand-up again. So I'm doing a show this week, starting on Thursday, and then I'm going on tour in the autumn all around the country. So I'm quite excited about that.
Everybody's talking about the Olympics in general and cycling in particular. Is that going to feature in some of your new material in the show?
Well, I've got a whole new show to do, and if the Olympics had been a disaster and a catastrophe, I could have done half an hour on it. But because it's been day after day of well-organised, brilliant events, many of them won by Brits, not much humour there. The first day, when they got the wrong flag up at the football, they got for the South Korean flag for the North Korean team, I thought, oh, this is going to be great, I'll get my notebook out.
Well, one of the reasons, of course, that the cycling anyway has been so phenomenally successful has been because of the huge amount of investment in and development of bike technology. We went along to the launch of one of the most unique bikes and most expensive bikes ever built. It has Formula One and MotoGP technology in it, no less.
This is the 177 cycle from Factor Bikes and Aston Martin Lagonda. One of the unique features about the bike is the cranks. The main purpose is their force measurement devices. We have independent measurements for the left and the right leg torque that the rider's putting into the cranks. When the back wheel is manufactured, within it 8 magnets are embedded in the carbon fibre. The ability to look at the data in real time on a remote device means that the trainer or coach can make changes to the rider's posture or technique. But what we actually use is a motorsport-derived data logging and analysis system. It's the same sort of system that people in Le Mans, Rally Raid and touring cars use for analysing data. So what we have on here is 2 graphs that show the data from the left crank and the right crank. Any data displayed in the circle which is green means the rider's applying positive power. Any red dots mean that the rider's technique is not ideal and the trailing leg is actually working against the leading leg. The technology's come from motorsport into the bike, but actually we've learnt a lot of things on the bike that we're taking back into motorsport as well, so it really has been a two-way thing.
And here is the bike in question, just over my shoulder. So close I'm actually afraid to move. £25,000 worth of cycling technology is not to be sniffed at. Alan, do you fancy a spin on a bike like that?
I'm very impressed by it, though. I have to say, for that money, I would expect mudguards. It's going to splash all up your back.
Keelan, it's not the kind of bike you'd be riding, obviously. Really, you don't get that much technology in the BMX. You don't even have brakes in your bike, do you?
Yeah, the great thing about BMX is just so simple. Nothing to go wrong, really. Mine's just light and strong. That's all it is to it.
Yeah, that was a funny story you told me earlier on. No, they're not great from getting from A to B, for example.
No. Yeah, I performed at did a show at the first cycling event. Because they closed the road down, I had to park 3 miles away and ride my bike to the event. I got there and I was shattered. I was like, I've got to try and ride all day now. A few cans of energy drink, it's good to go. But yeah.
How did you start out doing what you do, Keelan?
Literally kind of messing around as a kid, just hang out with your friends doing little tricks. Then you start to take it a bit more seriously, get into competitions. Then from there, once you start competing, it's those who take it really seriously or those who don't. So once you take it seriously, it's dedication, everyday practice to get where you are. Yeah.
Do you never get dizzy?
No, I get asked that all the time, but I don't get dizzy because I literally spin all day long every day. So. Used to it now.
Don't you hurt yourself though? Doesn't it ever come around and just get you on the shin? You think, I'm not
Yeah.
doing it, that's it.
My shins now, as you can see, are
Oh,
just
look at the state of you.
literally one big scar.
I used to skateboard, and I remember trying to do a 360, and my front foot came off, and the thing hit me in the shin.
Oh,
Never tried it
I
again.
can't imagine you doing that, Alan.
No, well, this was in 1980.
Before I
Alan,
was
you're
born.
going to get a great opportunity just to see what kind of shape Keelan is, because you're taking him on in the Cycle
Look at
Show
him.
Challenge,
Look at
which
the
is
shape he's in.
going to be hugely entertaining for
Can
us
you
at
get in the
least.
slipstream? That's what I want to know. I
know,
want to get
the-
in behind him.
In fact, the front of each bikes are fixed in the ground, so very much doubt the slipstreaming is going to do you any good. We'll let you go and get ready. Thank you very much for joining us. Keelan, I imagine you've had to deal with your fair share of punctures in the time, given that you operate mostly in an urban environment. They are, without doubt, probably one of the most annoying aspects of cycling. And just to be mean, we sent out Rob Hales to deliberately get a puncture to show us what happens and how to control it whenever you do get one.
Getting a puncture can be one of the most frustrating parts about cycling. And any of you who watched the Tour de France may have seen that these caused an awful lot of trouble on one of the stages. Now I'm going to show you how to control a puncture if you get one, especially on a descent. Now we're on the descent and we're going to try and cause a puncture with these tacks. Hopefully for me, I'm going to get a puncture in the rear because it's extremely difficult to control, especially on a descent. If it's the front wheel, you could be in trouble. The back wheel, we could generally get away with it. Ideally, what you need to do when your tyre goes flat, you just got to let the bike go where it wants to. If you try and steer with a flat tyre, you're going to be in all sorts of bother. So we're coming up to the point now. Oh, yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, we've got it in the rear this time. Got to try and bring this to a controlled stop. Don't want the bike to go anywhere other than in a straight line. Well, that was all fairly straightforward on a climb like this, but imagine doing that on an alpine descent at 50 miles an hour. Now that's a different story. These days, we have several options to help prevent punctures whilst out on the road. The first, and probably most obvious, is tyre choice. These have an armoured barrier in them to help prevent things going through to the inner tube. The other are these gel-filled inner tubes, which help seal any puncture that may occur. And this one is my favourite solution that you put into the inner tubes, and that again seals any puncture that you're likely to have. And I put this one to good use this winter with Mark Cavendish, where he only punctured twice all winter, and the other guys 8, 9 or 10 times. The trade-off, however, with any of these is it does add weight and a little bit of rolling resistance, but that's the payoff. No matter what tyre you choose, you will inevitably get a puncture. And the mechanics always used to slag us pros off that we couldn't change a tube in time. So, we've got Laurent Fignon here, Lindsay, sorry, who's drawn the short straw and he's going to race me. So, you've started?
Yeah, why not?
Right, after 3.
Okay.
3,
1, 2,
2, 1.
go.
You all right there, bike mechanic?
What's the tyre lever?
Now, if you can imagine doing this on the side of the road, chucking it down with rain, the last thing you want to be doing is hanging around. Now, this is the tricky bit, the last bit. You don't want to be pinching the tube, and I know there's going to be bike mechanics everywhere going, what is he doing? These mini pumps, they can tuck them away in your pocket. They don't take up much room. Unfortunately, they don't take up much air either. A bit soft, but that'll get me home.
Well, that was an unfortunate afternoon for poor old Lindsay. He broke a tyre lever, he broke his pump, and he ultimately got humiliated by the great Rob Hales. If you didn't follow exactly what they were doing there in that race, we've put up a step-by-step video guide to how to fix a puncture, change a tube. That's all going to be on our Facebook and our Twitter feeds as soon after this programme as we can get it there. That's it now for part 1. Join us again in part 2, when Anna Glowinski will be talking to our cycle team of the week, the Cycling Granddads. See you again in a few minutes for that. The Cycle Show, brought to you by ChainReactionCycles.com. The Cycle Show, brought to you by ChainReactionCycles.com.
Welcome back to The Cycle Show. I'm joined by two very interesting chaps, the cycling granddads. You two have shared some stories, you've got some challenges coming up ahead. How long have you two been cycling?
Best part of 50 years.
Yes, I mean the same, I guess.
When we started, it was travel. That's how you got about. If you wanted to go somewhere, you rode a bicycle.
And I hear that it's one of your special days today.
Yes, it's my 65th birthday today. Thank you.
65th birthday.
Yes, thank you.
And to celebrate this, tell me what you two are going to be doing.
In September, we're going to ride from northwest Scotland to southeast England, end to end, the opposite diagonal.
How far is that?
875 miles.
So what keeps you going? You know, you're not young things anymore. You're the granddads.
I'm afraid we're not. We're both 65 this year, and we thought we'd do this in celebration of our 65th birthday, and also to try and raise some money for a charity. There's a charity, Make-A-Wish, which supports children with serious illnesses. And we're hoping that people will donate to Make-A-Wish on our behalf.
It's amazing to see that you're still going.
Yes.
I think so many people out there will actually find you really inspirational. And
well,
I hope so.
We hope so. Yeah. We're all inspired by what's been happening recently with Bradley and the girls and the gold medals. If they can do it, well, we can get on a bike too.
Thanks very much, guys. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I wish you all the luck with your travelling.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we've all seen the success of the track cycling this week, and I've been giving some velodrome action a go myself. But this is a velodrome with a difference. Red Bull invited me along to have a go on the world's smallest velodrome in Edinburgh. In a shrunk-down version of a traditional velodrome, the Minidrome is engineered to its smallest possible size to still allow single-track racing. It's like cycling's equivalent to the Wall of Death. And I'm one of over 100 competitors taking part in today's event. With no gears and no brakes, this is Ultimate Fixie.
At the Minidrome, you have to ride a fixed gear bike. So all the bikes here are similar to this. Basically, with a fixie, it's you can't stop pedalling. It's the same kind of bikes that Chris Hoy and Victoria Pendleton ride on the track in the Olympics. It's really important that everyone at the Minidrome rides the same kind of bike, because it would be dangerous if people had brakes. They might brake in front of you, and the fixed gear is the best bike for the job.
Newcomer Chris has also come down to give it a go. He's an ex-World Cup downhill rider racing on a borrowed bike. The local lad's got no idea what he's in for.
Yeah, it's my first time here, so just kind of quite a lot of hype about the event. It looked like quite an interesting, quite different event. First impressions, came into the building, I thought the velodrome was a lot tighter and smaller than it looks in photos, so yeah, kind of got me worrying how it might be to ride it.
And so, on to qualifying. The fastest 32 riders are pitted against the clock for a knockout one-on-one competition. With a track just 7 metres wide, 14 metres around, and at an angle of 43 degrees, it's hard enough just to stay on the track. I made it through, and it was now time to take on the boys and girls in the main races. Minidrome rookie Chris qualified in 32nd place, but ultimately fell short in his first elimination race.
Sheer chaos going around there. Absolutely all over the place, really hard work. Trying to keep the bike in a straight line, but it's pretty difficult. You're trying to go fast, and yeah, pretty tough.
In the first knockout round, Juliet came up against former Minidrome champion Ricky Crompton from Manchester. It was bad luck of the draw for Juliet, and then next up, it was me. It was an amazing day, and not a bad result either. I managed to get second place in the women's competition and through to the top 8 men. I also managed to fall off in awesome style. It's either crash and lose, or lose and not think I'd given it everything, so yeah, gutted, but I tried as hard as I could. It was loads of fun and a totally unique experience.
Anna, another cracking effort from you as usual, but the most exciting or the most impressive part of that was your very graceful dismount. Did that hurt?
No, it didn't hurt really. It's just people fly off the mini drome all the time. The forces are so strong pushing you upwards. The faster you go, the more likely you are just to fly off over the top. But they've got mats there. It's all right. Nothing worse than some bruises.
They should have made you do it on little tiny bikes.
I don't know. I don't think that would make it any harder actually, because
Really?
it would just become a normal sized velodrome then, wouldn't it?
Well, that's true. Would you fancy a crack at that, Keelan?
Definitely. I'd love to have a go at that. Yeah.
Are you a bit of an adrenaline junkie?
Yeah, if I see something I like, I'm desperate to have a go at it. So if I find out the mini drome is down near my way, I'm on that straight away.
Anna, the last time we saw you were doing the mega avalanche out at Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah.
Which did you prefer, that or the mini drome?
I couldn't say really. For the Mega Avalanche, I was out there for a week, so that's an amazing experience. But they just require such different things, like a different mindset, different muscles, different bikes, everything. They're just completely incomparable and both so much fun.
Speaking of fun and muscles and bike experience, it is of course now time for our epic cycle show challenge. It's Phillips versus Davies. So Near Naked Man Tom is the current cycle show grand champion on 25.18. That's his time for the 500 metres. Can Alan Davies and Keelan Phillips do any better? Let's find out. Over to you, Jake.
Okay, Keelan on the red, Alan on the blue. Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go, 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 pedal, pedal, pedal. And as they come up to pace, who's going to win this race with 100 gone? Keelan's in the lead on the red bike, Alan's just behind on the blue with 200 metres gone. Is a 25 metre gap, it's halfway red, halfway blue. As Keelan shoots past 200, Alan's got 200 to go with 100 metres. It's going to be Keelan that takes it. It's not a mystery. Alan can't solve this with 100 to go. He is in second place. Keep going, Alan. 50. 25, and he crosses the line. He's down.
Whoa, majestic performance from Keelan Phillips. Congratulations, straight to the top of our leaderboard ahead of Graham O'Brien and everybody else. Congratulations, Keelan. Thank you very much for joining us, and the best of luck on all your shows. Alan, are you all right?
Yeah, fine, yeah. How do I do?
Hopefully you recover in time for your new tour. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope that goes very well for you as well. Hope you don't get into cardiac arrest here. Don't forget, we want to hear from you as well at home. You can get in touch with us via Facebook and Twitter. Next week, we've got some Olympians and some Paralympians joining us in the studio. And we've also got a special feature on commuting. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Tomorrow at 5, there's racing from Croft with the GT Super Cup and Ginetta Juniors in Motorsport UK. But next tonight, there's a double police camera action, including mini motos and serial speeders. Stay with ITV4.
The Cycle Show, brought to you by ChainReactionCycles.com.